Okay, so for question number 1, that says, what are your new understandings about the assumptions of teaching and learning? I said that I learned that assumptions weren't necessarily wrong. When someone told me what they thought my assumptions were in my philosophy of ed, and after I read it out loud, I kind of took it as it wasn't supposed to be in there, or it wasn't necessarily going to work out. But after hearing everybody's and kind of going through the rest of it and telling why I thought it was an assumption, I realized that it's not. It doesn't have to be wrong, and people just want you to rethink and reevaluate why you think that's an assumption, or why you put that as an assumption and wrote it in your philosophy of ed. And I learned from it that I can't just assume anything that I wrote in there was easy and it's going to happen right off the bat, or that I'm going to be placed working in a certain place, and I have to just realize situations can change, and my assumptions have to be flexible. For question number 2 on how will these impact your approach to teaching, I said I think they will impact my approach because I need to broaden my horizons. I don't need to necessarily send out a newsletter, because that was one of the big things that I said as an assumption. I don't need to send out a newsletter every week, but maybe do a trial run, and if it works out, then that's great, and that was an assumption that will work well with my classroom. But if it doesn't, then I get to re-look and take a step back, and see what else I have to work with and how I can approach that situation. I think my assumptions can change and be true or false once I see and I feel out the students that are in my classroom. And the last question, how do these understandings relate to the current content of your philosophy of education? Will I make changes, and were some aspects reinforced? I said that I like this assignment because I got to hear other people's assumptions, and that gave me some good ideas that I might want to add to my philosophy of education, even though they are just assumptions and it's not proven yet. I thought collaborating and using other ideas and making them my own from other people's assumptions is going to be what makes me a standout teacher, compared to if I were to just be blindsided by my own ideas. And working with others helps you learn to work work with or be open to other people's ideas. I said it was also reassuring that others said some of the same assumptions that I said, because it kind of gave me a feel that I wasn't totally off track, and that I kind of knew where I was going with my assumptions, or where I'm going with my philosophy of education, and that people agreed with mine and that they supported my assumptions. Made me feel good too. That's it.